Okay, I want to talk about something that might sound a little backwards at first. We're going to dive into this really powerful idea that the education system in India, without actually meaning to, has become incredibly good at rewarding one thing above all else: silence.
And you know what's so important about this statement is where it's coming from. This isn't some outsider pointing fingers. This is a careful observation from someone who grew up in this very system. It's a look from the inside at a cultural habit that's so deep it affects millions of students every single day.
So where does a problem like this even come from? Well, you won't find it written down in any official policy or in a textbook. Nope. The source suggests it's more like a powerful, unwritten rule, one that quietly runs the show in classrooms all across the country.
And here it is. Don't speak unless you are very sure. On the surface, that almost sounds sensible, right? But just think for a second about what that really teaches a kid. It teaches them that curiosity is risky, that having a question might make you look foolish. And in that kind of environment, silence isn't just golden, it's safe. It's the easiest path forward.
Now, a culture like this doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's actually a feedback loop. And it's reinforced by pretty much everyone in a student's life, their friends, their teachers, and yeah, even their own families. Kids learn from each other faster than anyone, and they learn real quick that if you raise your hand too much, you might get labeled. You hear things like this, right? You think you're too smart, or always looking for attention. Even if they're just jokes, they work. They teach you to just blend in, don't stand out, and suddenly participating feels like a huge social risk.
And this is such a perfect example of how teachers can play a part, often without even realizing it. A question like, "Any doubts?" Well, it's kind of a closed door, isn't it? It just begs for a simple no, and then everyone moves on. But now look at the questions on the right. What confused you? Or what would you explain differently? Those are open doors. They invite real conversation. And they signal that it's okay to not get it right away. That's part of learning.
And of course, this conditioning doesn't just stop when the school bell rings. It's so often reinforced at home. I mean, these are common phrases, right? They're usually meant to teach respect, to teach discipline, but they carry this unintended side effect. They reinforce the idea that a child's voice isn't valuable, that being obedient is more important than being expressive.
So what's the big deal? What's the real damage here? This isn't just about a few shy kids. We're talking about something that slowly chips away at a student's confidence, at their whole sense of self. It's like an entire generation is being taught to turn down its own volume.
So let's break down the hidden lessons this system teaches. The first one is that your knowledge is something private. It's something you hold on to and then reveal on a test. It's not something you share or debate or build on with other people.
And from there, you learn lesson number 2. Using your voice is risky business. You start to associate it with getting teased or being corrected or getting in trouble. So what's the logical thing to do? You just stop using it.
And this might be the most damaging lesson of all. When you believe knowledge is private and your voice is risky, then confidence stops feeling like a skill you build. It just becomes this optional extra, like a personality trait you're either born with or you're not, instead of being the absolute core of what education should be about.
And this is where you see the heartbreaking result of all those years. The source talks about meeting these brilliant, creative young adults in college, and their energy is just gone. It's been slowly and systematically trained out of them. Their voices literally sound uncertain because for more than a decade they've been taught that silence is the right answer.
Okay, so that's the problem. But this is not a story without hope. Far from it. The solution here doesn't need some huge government policy overhaul. Real change can start inside a single classroom, with individual teachers who are brave enough to start rewriting those invisible rules.
It really boils down to creating a new value system. Just imagine a classroom where the rewards are different, where a student gets praised not for getting the answer right, but for having the guts to speak up in the first place, for asking a great question, for just trying, even if they get it wrong. That small shift in what we celebrate could change everything.
And that shift totally reframes the entire purpose of school, doesn't it? Is the goal just to be a factory that churns out degrees and report cards? Or is the real deeper purpose to help shape confident, articulate people who can communicate their ideas to the world no matter what they do in life?
And let's just zoom out for the big picture here, because this isn't just about one student's success. This is really about the future of an entire country. The very skills that are being accidentally suppressed in the classroom, curiosity, communication, confidence, are the exact skills needed to build and innovate and lead in the 21st century.
So we have to end with this really powerful question. The habits we learn as kids don't just stay in the classroom.
They build the adults we become. A generation that's taught to keep quiet becomes a nation of silent adults. And in a world that is screaming for bold ideas and collaboration, you have to ask, can India really afford that silence anymore?